here is what we got. The sheriff, according to Matt Finn of Fox News, Matt reports, quote, I just asked Sheriff Nanos if DNA helped clear the Guthrie family from being suspects. He says, quote, not going there. They are victims, and I will not stand quiet when they are re-victimized. It is not just my duty. It is every cop's duty to stand up and be the voice for victims. What? Enter Tom Winter of NBC News, who reports it explicitly, quote, there is no indication this is the result of any new evidence. No indication this is a result of any new evidence whatsoever. So what happened here, quite clearly, is the sheriff decided, probably after a phone call from the family, he says he mostly speaks to Savannah, to just say, nobody there is a suspect anymore. When 24 hours earlier, he said no one's been cleared. And that's what we were told by our federal law enforcement source too. No one has been cleared. But magically, over the course of 24 hours, because it's his duty to stand up and be the voice for the victims and will not stand quiet when they are re-victimized, the sheriff finds the wherewithal to say, just no one's a suspect in the family. Okay, maybe that's true. Maybe they're not the prime suspects now. Maybe they're moving away from the family, as NBC reported yesterday. But it's diametrically opposed to what both the sheriff said 24 hours earlier and what my sources said within hours of our reporting yesterday. Okay, so something's off. And we don't do feelings in a criminal investigation. We don't do feelings. We do facts. Okay, that's how it's supposed to work. And the sheriff should know better. It's actually quite interesting now because I'll show you what the douchebag Chris Cuomo is saying. In fact, let's just play it now. It's SOT 52. He's very upset that Ashley Banfield and yours truly have raised questions about the brother-in-law. Ashley's reporting, and based on Ashley's reporting, we've asked questions on this program. And here's Fredo Cuomo on his little-known show on News Nation, which has less viewers than I have fingers.
Now, look, I've never heard law enforcement make this kind of a statement during an investigation, and I'm not calling for the family to be removed from suspicion. The job is the job, right? But the job is also, you don't speculate just because you don't care that you're destroying this family, just because it may get you some clicks. But I want to correct something the sheriff said. It's not the media. No one who pays attention to the law or any standard of decency is doing this. What these digital people are doing. It's the digital media. It's those denizens. It's people who get paid for clicks and rage bait. All right? These fugazi, sloppy influencers and would-be sleuths. Right? The truth about whether Nancy Guthrie's family is under scrutiny. She doesn't know a damn thing. The reason the cops are going back to the home is because the police think she did it. Where'd she get that? Bullshit. The video messages from the family are like a movie. It's from Silence of the Lambs. Why are they doing that?
Okay. So let me tell you what Fredo is really upset about. He has Fredo no Rado. That's his real problem. Nobody watches his show on News Nation, and I mean nobody. And nobody watches his failed podcast either. Nobody watched his Sirius radio show. Nobody watched him on CNN. And therefore, he gets upset at anybody who does well, like our show, which is always one of the top 3 conservative podcasts in the nation. It's currently #1 on Apple. Fredo doesn't like that, okay? Because as I say, Fredo no Rado. So he gets upset and he gets jealous. Sometimes in the past on this show, we've called out Fredo for his terrible behavior, for his bad ratings, for his lies about bumping into people who just happen to be listening to his podcast, because literally nobody does. And Fredo can't take criticism. And I'll tell you something I've never told before. Fredo actually called my lawyer, who he happened to use briefly on a legal matter, and begged the lawyer to get me to stop mentioning him. He didn't want me to attack him because it hurt his little feelings. So now Fredo sees an opportunity to attack yours truly because, of course, we're doing well with this story too, as we do when we do other news, which Fredo can't relate to. So Fredo's upset, and Fredo's trying to play the protector of the Guthrie family. Meanwhile, there are a few in news who have done more for the Guthrie family than this show. We have covered this story extensively since it broke because Fredo doesn't understand, but I too am a newswoman like Savannah. I, too, worked at the Today Show like Savannah Guthrie. I, too, have been the victim of a deranged stalker, which may be one of the possibilities here. Something Fredo doesn't realize we've covered extensively as well on this program. I, too, know Ashley Banfield extremely well, and she's had extremely solid reporting for 20 years in the crime and other fields as well. And so when she tells me she's got a solid source, I take her very seriously. And I also saw this matter being discussed, guess where else? On News Nation, all around Fredo, by Elizabeth Vargas, by Jesse Weber, Dan Abrams, who had the show right before Chris Cuomo for years, did a long segment on it with Ashley Banfield. It's all over Fox News. Jesse Waters, Sean Hannity, up and down the lineup, Laura Ingraham, all of them have discussed whether the brother-in-law had anything to do with it, because in an investigation like this, you don't rule out family because of feelings, because of your little feelings, Fredo, because I know you're in the business of protecting your family. Okay, we learned that firsthand during COVID when you put your loser brother on there and ran cover for him. And then ultimately, it was one of the things that led to your downfall, because you didn't report honestly on his many, many problems during COVID or his many, many problems in grabbing women. And perhaps the reason you chose not to do that is because you yourself were accused of having a Me Too problem, as you well know. Okay, we had the senior executive producer on this program who talked all about you and your behavior in a bar with her. There was another woman at CNN who came forward against you, who did a whole podcast about the discomfort you made her feel. And then there was an anonymous woman who came forward who was the last straw before your firing. So you have a long history, I understand, of running cover for family. That's not what we do here on the actual news. We talk about what the police are doing, and we try to glean where the investigation is going. And we especially do that when we have a sheriff who repeatedly, when asked whether anyone has been ruled out, says no. No one's been ruled out. Absolutely not. Not the family. No one. No one's been ruled out. Everyone remains a suspect until we have somebody in handcuffs. That's the way you do it. And you especially do it that way when the sheriff tows the car belonging to the sister and her husband and impounds it. You do that when the sheriff and the FBI continuously return to the sister and her husband's home, taking pictures in the middle of the night with the lights off, suggesting there may be something that they need to capture in the same hour of night as Nancy Guthrie went missing from her home. Go back time and time again to search the home and take belongings from the home and take photographs of the home, which is not the crime scene. So this is what a responsible reporter does. What they don't do is stage news. Okay, I need to help you, Fredo, because your little begging to my lawyer to get me to lay off of you didn't work. So this is what you're going to have to deal with. Actual facts when you try to come for yours truly. This is what we don't do. We do cover facts. We do follow leads, but we don't stage news, Fredo. We do not pretend that we are walking out of the basement, our basement during COVID, haven't smelled the fresh air in months, when everybody knows you were on the street in an altercation involving your bicycle weeks earlier. Remember this moment on CNN?
All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement. Cleared by CDC, a little sweaty, just worked out, happens. This is what I've been dreaming of, literally for weeks. My wife, she was cleared by the CDC. She doesn't have fever, she doesn't have the symptoms anymore, more than 7 days from her quarantine. We're still a little scared, so I'll just give you one of these, just give you one of these, just give you one of these, just give you one of these. Bella has, of course, taken the video. This is the dream. This is for when we go outside. That's what we have to do now, all of us in New York. So anyway, I'm back.
His mask. It was all fake. He'd been on the street. It had made the New York Post, and he humiliated himself. And he continues to humiliate himself with his 4 viewers. Envy is a very unattractive thing, Fredo. Work on that. International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it is a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to the number 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.